Yay, load screen.
Habitation station. All right, map with gold bases. You know what? If Polt, the thing is, Polt's a good player and he's not a show off. If he was a show off, I'd love for him to just lift to the gold. Like
You just
I want that to happen. I
you
know
just
it's
want it
not
out.
good. Like it's not a tactically good decision. It's a terrible idea, and if anyone does that, expect to lose the game. But if you really want cool points, that's one thing to do. This is game number 2, guys, in this best of 3 series between two great players. Of course, it is unfortunately, or fortunately I should say, the winner's bracket, so whoever loses can still come back and win a spot. Only 2 people from today can advance. As we get further and further into brackets, we'll find out who those 2 will be. For now, though, spawning in the top right corner of the map, playing for Evil Geniuses, claiming his team color blue, it is Suppy.
All is right in the world. As in the upper left, as the red Terran, it is CM Storms Polt.
Polt, of course, kind of the independent badass in the StarCraft 2 scene. One of the very small minority that actually has a personal sponsorship. Lots of pros and cons do come with that, of course. Suppy's giant pros. Evil Genius is such a nice plethora of really skilled players that you can really, work with, train with, talk to about strategies and stuff. Polt, though, I don't know, he's been around for a while. He's got a GSL championship under his belt. I mean, he's no small fry. He doesn't really need a team, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of. I don't want to say it's questionable. This might be like a hot topic that I shouldn't bring up, I guess. But how good is a team really to have? It gives you a lot of safety, I would guess, because I don't know, like maybe your teammates have a say in like whether or not your contract gets. I don't know, but a lot of the practice for these players is just on ladder. The amount that they actually practice with other players actually isn't that high. I remember someone asked on Unfiltered. They asked Huck like what they thought about Polt and Violet, and he was like, most of them just play on ladder all the time, anyways.
Well, I was going to say, one of the biggest advantages for a team, too, is, like, as a player, typically you don't have the time or the energy to spend a lot of, promoting yourself, growing your own brand, so you kind of lend yourself to the team, and you get this nice little synergy, like, Suppy helps build Evil Geniuses helps, carry
Yeah.
Suppy's name a little bit more. I mean, there's definitely advantages to be on a team outside of strictly practice, but I think you're right. Like, when it comes down to just practice, a team is, I don't want to say completely irrelevant, but not the most important thing on the priority list. But it does supply so many other things that you just don't get being an independent player.
Well, I know Violet. I think Polt also does. They have managers, so that's pretty nice. Like your own personal manager.
Yeah, but that's not something you don't see like the wanted ads for like StarCraft 2 managers, right? Like it's not a abundant thing.
It's not a prestigious.
There's also like no agents like floating around like, oh man, let me represent you, right?
Yeah, so anyways, Polt obviously he's had the sponsor for a very long time and he is doing perfectly well with it. So Suppy's also been an EG for a while and that was the greatest pickup they've ever gotten, I feel. Like legitimately.
I don't know what it's his smile, I think. His emoticon on Twitch maybe. But like Suppy just brings such positive energy with anything he does or wherever he goes. Now, we've been talking a lot about not game related things, guys. Of course, this is a very standard opening, it was why. One last thing we'll talk about before we really focus on the game here is this is the semifinals match. So the winner of this could potentially go on, will actually go on to potentially qualify, I should phrase that. The other side of the brackets is Betrayus versus QXE, so the winner of this series versus the winner of that to decide who gets to qualify. Oh man, there's no downside to the games following this one.
So QXE over Huck?
QXE, yes, it must have been I just refreshed moments ago, so.
Cool. All right. Well, hopefully you get to see some QXE action as he's been doing really well lately.
I'm sorry, unrelated to that. It's so weird seeing 2 Reapers in the front lines. So often, I'm used to watching players like Bly or Nurchio, right? Like the aggressive Zergs who take those 2 links we talked about before and send them across the map instead of having all 6 at home to defend. So, oftentimes that forces one of the Reapers to sit at home or forces a Marine to come out instead of a Reaper. Like, you don't often see 2 Reapers on the front lines anymore.
Yeah. He just gets there, I guess. I don't think it's faster than anyone else, but I think he actually, he gets in front of the lings. They're not just lings waiting, so maybe 2 of them sneak past. He's always aware that these are the 6 lings that I can keep my eye on, and they're always there, so I don't have to worry about, being counterattacked. So that's, I guess it's specific to Polt, because usually, those lings do get around the Reapers, and then it's trouble for your command center.
Well, holding up at home for the time being is Polt. Of course, one of the biggest things is wall off is key right around the 6-minute mark. That's your cue to get this done, if not already have it finished, because if you don't, roaches are a big threat. Banelings are a big threat. But Polt with a Banshee on the way and some Hellies to start controlling the map. He's in real no immediate danger. Suppy also opting to take the southern base. It's a little bit safer than that gold base. It's much less exposed. And of course, tank fire is not as deadly here as it is in the middle portion of the map.
As we saw on Friday, that ended up being a huge part in the TVZ we were casting, as tanks on that bridge shelling away at that gold base. So, and also, you save the gold base for later, I guess. So if things get dicey in a later game, you have that really good economy. Polt probably going to take the gold. I feel like most Terrans really love taking that gold.
Yeah, it's a nice base. It's funny though, there's a lot of people, I think even Rotterdam had made a slip up of calling it, like, people forget mules don't mine more from the gold base, but even so, like, it's a gold base, like, your income gets increased by such a large margin. But, okay, looks like hatchery here at the third. Under a little bit of stress. I thought there was going to be more attacking than that, but 6 Hellions and 2 Reapers can certainly tango with some Queens. The Spore Crawlers were brought out of Suppy, though. I think he was anticipating this Banshee in a big way, so did he actually scout the starport?
Yes.
Oh, he did, okay. So it makes a little more sense why he's got so many down. 1 or 2 are usually the paranoia ones you get with most builds, but yeah, he's even got them here on the front lines to protect his reinforcements and his rallies.
Playing pretty darn safe, not going to take any unnecessary losses in the early game. It's going to want to go ahead and scout that third command center again, however. Make sure that Polt isn't going anything weird off of 2 base again, as that, last time it didn't really do any head-on damage, but definitely probably messed up his build a little bit. So if you know there's going to be a 3 base, then you can kind of, have a little sigh of relief.
Well, the Polt Viking took out an Overlord there. It's like the longest time it's taken something to actually die in a StarCraft 2 match in a long time, but even just picking off the odd Overlord here or there, it's, again, just taking away that map control from Suppy little bit by little bit. You really want to force him to be playing blind. I mean, that's the most frustrating thing for a Zerg player. Ooh, transfuses to go down. I've never seen anyone do that to keep it alive. Queen's going to try and clean this up. They're, of course, a little bit exposed doing so, but... Okay, the Overlord dies, the Viking dies! Okay, a bit of a kerfuffle going down, to say the least, but of course that Spore Crawler will keep the Banshee back, and there's not enough Hellions to engage into this many lings.
There's tanks coming out from Polt. That's just what is going on? It's I'm not sure if it's map specific or if he feels like Suppy's gonna go for Roach Hydra again, because I feel at this point you would know there would be roaches in the field.
I think it's got to be match specific, because he's had so much scouting information, ducking in and out, seeing what his opponent's doing. Of course, there's, between these cliffs, guys, like, let's say you position tanks down here, Zerg has to run all the way around these ramps to get to you. Let's not forget the middle of the map, if a gold blaze was taken, tanks are phenomenal. Not just good, but phenomenal. But as far as the open engagement places go, it's just like any other map. It's really easy to get swarmed upon, lose those tanks, have them out of a bad position, Mutalists flock in, and what have you. And speaking of Mutalists, Spire will be finishing up here in a moment's time, so Suppy not going to be playing it is in as dire straits as he was before.
He's playing a lot more standard right now. Muta's coming out at very standard timing. Polt's probably got this down. Around 11:30 is a good time to put down your missile turrets, as long as they're going for lings beforehand. Upgrades are also finishing just a little farther ahead than the Terran player. So, I mean, it's not much to say, but compared to last game, it is very different in a good way.
Yeah, Suppy's gonna have a little more control this time. Gonna lose these Queens, unfortunately, or maybe not. Goes for a bit of a transfuse and comes in from behind with the lings. Awkward is as awkward does. Still gonna lose one of the Queens by the looks of it, but the Mutalists are now out. There's a very low Marine count with this. They do have Sim though, so he has to be careful. Banelings are not readily available. There's a hell of a lot of Zerglings though.
I was gonna mention, like, that bridge, the other bridge that we saw, like, near the gold base is really, really terrifying, but this bridge, too, is not that great. It's not the smallest stroke in the world, but it's still a pretty nice one. Polt decides not to try and just stay there, though, does go ahead and pack up and go home, and Suppy, he sees those tanks, he's not taking that 4th base. It's like he's got that one down in the bottom, not something you usually see. If they don't take it for the 3rd, they usually always take it as the 4th.
Oh god, we got some serious new sub hype now. We got Farside, the admin from today, just subbed. Thank you so much for your support, man. Awesome freaking dude, Farside. You are number 41, my friend.
Well, it looks like Polt was going to go back into Widow Mines. The reactor does go down. The Marines finally chase off the Mutants. I believe one went down right there. It halted the Widow Mine production, which is pretty nice. I guess Polt's, usually if you get 2 tanks, it's because you're afraid they're going to do some type of mid-game all-in, Roach Baneling, or even, Ling Baneling. So I think this was really map-specific, just, didn't work out maybe in the practice way. Maybe he gets that great position and they do get the gold base and he gets a free base. Didn't happen here, so he just transitioned into Widow Mines.
You guys haven't got to see them yet today, but this is what Banelings look like with the stronger team colors. Wait till they explode. Again, none of these colors affect the players in game. As far as they're concerned, this is a regular StarCraft 2 match. It just enhances the viewing experience, which is what's really cool about Gameheart. Double turrets coming down the main. This is something you don't see too often, but it's going to be really nice for these Mutalisks.
Polt just loves factories. I mean, I'm surprised he doesn't go mech. Like every other... I mean, besides... Even in PvT, I think he's one of the players that tries to include Hellbats, but he's always getting 3. PV or TVT and TVZ.
When you're on 3 bases, though, you're not trying to get 100 tanks out, so your gas count isn't that insane. Like, you're usually going to be, as a Terran player playing bio, you usually end up floating gas later on, if not even taking the extractors later on. But, have the potential to get Thors out, have the potential to pump out a bunch of Widow Mines, to deal with what is suddenly a flock of 30 Mutalisks is really nice. And Polt, he said one thing that I'll always carry with me for, like, as long as I play StarCraft 2, regardless how bad I get at this game, the best way to deal with Mutalisks is to never let them disengage. And if you've got Thors at your natural, Marines in your main, and Marines at that gold base waiting for the Mutalisks, they're going to struggle to get any real damage done. So, again, I am a big fan of his production.
Well, this is scary right here. That's not his entire army for Polt, so he's got to go back into at least the tank range and of the rest of his army as well. I don't think Suppy should push in here. I don't know about this. The tank should fire on those Banelings.
This is way too spread. The Banelings are trying to connect to everything, but they just can't connect to anything. And we got huge heads going off on the bio, but it's not huge enough. Tank is such a good spot. The Mutalisk count is just dwindled. Suppy taking some pretty big losses there. Was not a good choked in. I don't know why he chose to take that fight.
I don't know either. Actually, I don't even think the tank fire on the Banelings was that good.
No.
But it didn't even matter. So
the spread was too good. I mean, Suppy couldn't keep up. Look at the resources lost now. Oh my god, Suppy's in such a bad position right now.
Well, this counterattack could be absolutely terrible. There's also that drop that it meant to be cleaned up, but then it got away with it. So it's here now. The mutas are on the southern side. So, of course, Polt clears up the north side creep. The upgrades are also on the way for him. Drilling Claws already done. Multiple Thors on the way as well. It's Suppy still not even having infestation pits. His upgrades are going to be a big deal.
Well, the nice thing is, even if you are behind as a Zerg player, Suppy's keeping up an army supply, and it's not inflated with roaches. He's got a lot of Banelings here. If he can get some good connections, catch Polt off guard, sideswipe him maybe. I mean, these are all things that are going to be nearly impossible to do against a player of Polt's caliber, but still, if he can make these happen, he can bring this game back. Neither player's taking the gold, and they're both expanding southward. It's a pretty split map situation, but, as weird as that was, and is not, I guess, dominating this game as Suppy is, the thing is, Polt's not pushing because he's not able to.
He is taking a fourth, though. I mean, this is really Polt style in TVZ. He's not that very aggressive.
I love the turrets coming down, too, by the
way. She's not not she. He's not a very aggressive Terran versus Zerg player, Really, why people always say that he comes back from, like, the worst positions is because he really isn't, he's not that player that stays on 3 base forever. He's actually getting 4, 5, 6 Robo to command, so that's why whenever he loses an army, any other player would be like, oh, that's it. But him, he's just like, I got, that's no problem. I got the economy for it, and that's what he's playing right now.
Well, pretty nice engagement here in the middle of the map. Finally, this is what I was talking about. Gonna pick off some of these medevacs full of units if he can. Oh, so close. Gets a tank, though, and if he had been able to snipe off one of those 2 medevacs, that would have been a really nice engagement for Suppy. Still may be able to get this. Thors, though, gonna keep this at back. Most of those mules are so close to dead. Fortunately for Suppy, but unfortunately for Polt, one harsh reality is that Thors have terrible AI, and they will target Zerglings over Mutalisks, so as long as he magic boxes these on top of them, he shouldn't really be in too much danger. Polt scanning forward to see where Suppy is.
I can't believe no one's taking the gold base right now. This is just shocking to see on this map. Polt is pushing in right now. The creep, unfortunately, has not been able to get too far. It's always been about halfway, so it's actually kind of a small map, horizontal-wise, but Polt's been pretty good on taking care of it.
I've been on purpose trying not to address this because the chat seems to be going wild over it, but I do got to point out, Suppy's APM this game has been insane. He's been spiking insanely high, and well, hold that thought. We got the full engagement coming on. The Mutalisks are going to go down to these Thors, but the Banelings purposely wrap around, and Suppy gets a good chunk of this bio cleared out of the map. More Mutalisks are going to flock in, and finally an engagement goes his way, but the resources lost still not looking too good because, well, that's how Banelings work. But regardless, he cleans up a lot of those Thors, and a majority of that bio finally gets some breathing room in this game.
He lost 18 mutas. He's down to
Well,
12.
oh wow, 34 lost in total this game. That's an insane amount, but still has a pretty healthy count on the field. I mean, it's not... You never want to completely get rid of your Mutalisk, because the second you do that, you open your way to drops, right? But he doesn't have that count that can really just overwhelm Polt, and especially he can't engage into these 5 turrets over here, and the Lings can't engage into the planetary, so that expansion from Polt is actually incredibly secure.
Yeah.
But Ultra's Cabin came down behind this. 3-3 is on the way. He's moving into his tier 3 units, and Polt, I think, is going to be ready for this. He's got Thors, he's got Marauders, and he's got a hell of a lot of Marines.
Yeah, at this point, you're already mixing in Marauders anyways, just because they're good at soaking up the occasional Baneling. So it's not really the surprise. You know, I only have Marines, so, you know, F me, but he will want to, you know, add on more Marauders once he realizes the Ultra Transition is in effect. You know, adding on those tech labs and whatnot. Still getting the Thors, I really like that. Even though he already took down a lot of the mutas, A, they oftentimes get more mutas, you know, they don't give up on mutas, but also B, they're effective against the Ultralists too. Not only because the SimCity is a Thor, quote unquote,
Well, it
but
kind of
also
is.
because they actually do good damage. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you put some Thors spread out and it's hard to engage, but Polt saying, alright Suppy, I see you down to the south, I'm just going to push into your natural, into your third, and Suppy unfortunately has to reposition, but in doing so, gives up some ground here. Creep tumors do go down, Spore Callers have been taken out, and Thors are a little bit exposed in the back. Baneling's going to get some pretty decent connects on the Marines. The Mutalisks are unfortunately going to go down in one big fell swoop. Thors are a little too good, and oh wow, he evacuates them. Banelings were coming from behind to try and catch the retreating units, but...
If he dropped on the Banelings, that would be the sickest thing I've ever seen.
Can these last 2 Mutalisks kill this Thor in the medevac? Oh, Suppy unloads it at the last second. Or not Suppy,
he
sorry,
switches the
Polt unloads it.
medevacs. Oh, that was sick.
That was pretty
He just
cool.
goes to a higher health medevac. Oh, so he still has 4 Thors. That's actually, oddly enough, his army. That's actually not that great. He needs more units.
The Ultras here are not going to fare too well, I don't think. The Mutalisks are going to draw the fire of this, though, allowing the Ultras to get on top of this. 3-3 is seconds off for Suppy, though he's taking this engagement perhaps a little bit too early. But the Ultras, of course, still beefy, tanky units they are, will destroy the Thors. Forced to lift up and hide behind the depots. Suppy is going to finally knock down the command center here.
Oh no! Just cancel at the last second.
Yeah,
so
lift
I was wondering.
it up. Drop towards the south looks like it did take out a majority of the drones at this base for Suppy, but realistically, it's not the biggest deal in the world. He's still got 76 drones behind this. Polt did take that gold base. Again, a hell of a lot of turrets blocking out mining from the gas, but he knows he doesn't care about the gas. He's playing bio, so whatever.
He's gonna have ship plating level 3. I don't know how often I see that.
I really like that he's done this too, though. Mutalisks are a big threat, and as we've seen, there's multiple times where these medevacs have gotten away with like 1 or 2 health. If they were naked medevacs with no upgrades, they would have died.
Technically, they're helping out the Thors too.
Oh, that's a good
I
point.
usually consider that, but he's actually stopped making Thors, it seems, for now, and he has finally switched over a few more barracks onto the tech lab, so Marauder production has started up again at a reasonable count, 3 at a time. Drops, multiple drops. 1 goes up top, gets the army to go away from the bottom, and the bottom base is going to go down. He's still on 5 bases, though, so it's...
But look at Polt's income right now compared to Suppy's. That's the gold base coming into full effect right now. Like, there's no way Suppy can keep up with this economy. The longer Polt has that 3rd base, the harder it's going to be for Suppy to really get an edge in this game. Now this base in the bottom right, this one is actually really important.
Yeah.
Drone's going to have to be evacuated out of this, sadly. Suppy down to 1 base mining. Now it's on his own gold. It's weird that both players waited until like 25 minutes in the game to take their gold bases, but hey, you know what? It finally got done.
It is, but now Suppy, you know, it's come into effect, right? Suppy does have actually a really nice economy, even though he's technically on 2 base. It's actually really, really great. He does, of course, want to re-expand down there. Losing that second hatch was a big deal. Tries to go in here, but that's so many turrets.
Yeah. Woodmine's going to take out another Mutalist there too, unfortunate. Towards the south, though, Polt is still expanding. Like, this is a map that every time you and I have cast so many games on this map at this point, and it feels like it's around the 3rd base, the 4th base maybe, where the games end. But both players have pretty much split the map up and taken almost every base available.
Yeah, this is the first time that I've seen that happen, actually. I mean, it's still a new map, so maybe it's not that big of a deal, but it usually does end around 4 bases.
You always remember your first time, Zombie Grub.
Oh, no, let's not bring no.
Okay,
oh, God, chat.
Marauders. Yeah. Well, I'm going to send chat off today. Marauders are going to bait the fight out here in the middle of the map. There's a lot of Banelings behind this, but Banelings aren't really what he needs. Unfortunately, there's so many Marauders and so many Thors. The Banelings are going to be... It's going to be nearly impossible to get any good connections off, quite frankly.
Suppy definitely needs to be maxed before this happens, and actually he's going in right now. I don't know if this is going to work. It's a really good spread. So many... Oh, God, so many units going down again, and the Thors just... they're They killed the Ultras. The Ultras just melted right there, and the Thors are still alive.
But you know what's great? With the bio going down, the Zergling reinforcement will not be
Oh yeah,
bad.
what happened?
Thors are
Remember
so...
the medevacs.
I guess they got taken out. There's a drop going down here to cancel Suppy's new base once again, but he's still mining up the gold, so he's not out of this game yet. That fight looked a little bit devastating, but I gotta remind you guys, Polt took some pretty heavy losses there too. The difference is, I think his production's a little bit better than Suppy's. He's got like 100 command centers coming in. Okay, well, never mind, cancels to him. But still, in such a good way here is Polt. And finally, Suppy's going to try and get some harass down on the other side of the map, something he's not been able to afford to do this whole game, but... You know, there's a planetary, there's no way Lings run by, it's so limited on what it can do damage-wise.
Just losing Ultralisk is just such a big sink of money. I mean, yeah, Polt's losing Thors, which is not common, but it is expensive.
Suppy's finally going to lose the space.
He's going to save, but he lost so many drones that it is actually not efficiently mining anymore. But, yeah, Polt, he's like reproducing with Thor still, but he could just reproduce with Marauders and Marines, and that's not too expensive. Suppy's reproducing with expensive units, and he doesn't have all the bases.
No, not anymore. He's long distance mining with some too. But again, those medevacs, well, you never mind. Good game is going to be called. Polt will take the series 2-0 and move on to the finals to wait to fight against the winner of either Petraeus or QXC. I'm not going to lie, with the way Petraeus has been playing today, I would really like to see that, but a TVT wouldn't be too bad either. There's no downside. The finals is going to be good no matter what. If you guys love Suppy, though, he's not out of the tournament yet. He simply falls to the loser's bracket.